Morning. Good morning. Oops. Still don't know how to do things like that. What a beautiful morning. I hope we all appreciated what kind of morning we have today. Not too hot, not too cold, not a lot of wind. It's a great day. I had a teacher when I was growing up that no matter if it was black and gloomy, it was still a great day. So she was alive. Welcome home, Reverend Gibbs. It's my honor to be chairperson this morning for combination Rennyo Shonin memorial service and Shotsuki service for the month of June, and also the giving away of scholarships for this year for high school grads, undergrads, and also maybe graduate students. We'll find out. Okay, we'll start with sutra chanting, beginning with Jusan, led by Michilu Nakata, and then Kanon, and then Shorai-san, led by Reverend Nakata. And during the sutra chanting, those who are Shotsuki family members can come up and do the shoko.
With deepest reverence, we gather here today to solemnly observe the 2025 the Fresno Buddhist Temple Special Memorial Service in honor of Rennyo Shonin, the 8th Moshu of our Mother Temple, Nishihonganji, combined with our June monthly memorial service, Shotsuki. Let us contemplate the boundless compassion and wisdom of the teachings of Amida Tathagata as it is taught in the Gaza, Shorai Sangye, composed by the Master Chantal. The wisdom and vows of teachings of Amida Tathagata is deep and boundless like an ocean. Those who hear the name and aspire to reach the state of equanimity will all reach it without fail. This teaching was revealed to us by the historical Buddha Shakyamuni and transmitted through our revered founder, Shinran Shonin, who clearly taught that the state of equanimity is not attained through self-effort, but only through entrusting in other power of Amida Tathagata, the primal vow. Among those who carried forth these teachings with profound clarity and compassion, we particularly remember Rennyo Shonin, who revitalized the Hongan tradition during a time of great difficulty. Through his guidance, through his letters of Gobunsho, and through his life of dedicated ministry, he planted the seeds of Jodo Shinshu teachings into the hearts of people, bringing the Nembutsu into homes and communities far and wide. On this day, we express our gratitude for his tireless effort in spreading the Dharma and deepening our understanding of Amida Tathagata's boundless compassion. May the fragrance of incense remind us the purity of intention. May the beauty of the flowers reflect the preciousness and impermanence of life. May the gentle light of the altar candle illuminate the path of Nembutsu and remind us that Amida Tathagata's inconceivable light shines upon all without discrimination. Let us take this occasion to reflect on this preciousness of life, to reaffirm our entrusting heart, Shinjin, and to respond in gratitude by reciting Nembutsu with sincerity and humility. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
And we'll get everybody to stand, if you're able to sing A Special Place. And after that, we will have an introduction of our guest speaker for today. Introduce our special guest speaker for the day.
Reading.
Oh, wrong. We're having a group reading, 3 treasures, and our understanding of Jodo Shinshu, led by Izumi Ryan.
Let us reverently take refuge in the 3 treasures Virgin Buddha, may we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment, and awaken the highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depths of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become unity in pure core and the life of harmony in a spirit of universal friendship, free from unselfish behavior by taking responsibility.
Even through ages of myriad of kappas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of this teaching. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Our understanding of Buddha's virtue.
I am one of everyone. I am part of the world. I always receive love and support from others, which is called another power to make my life enjoyable. Although I cannot always be kind and gentle to others, others always help me to make my life enjoyable. How grateful I am that others support and appear here and there to make my life enjoyable. When I feel the kindness of others, saying Namo Amida Butsu becomes my expression of deep gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please, everyone, please.
Skip the whole part. Now we will have the introduction of our guest speaker by Reverend Cox.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for participating. Today's Rennyo Shonin Memorial, and also combined with the June Shotsuki Memorial Service this morning. And also 2 weeks ago, thank you so much, everyone, for supporting Fresno Obon, the first time ever in May. I hope everyone enjoyed. It's much 10 degrees cooler, right? So better than July, right? Okay. But anyway, so today we are so honored to have special guest speaker, originally from here in Fresno. The last night I took him to the dinner, and I was told he was a Dharma school teacher here in Fresno for 2 weeks. After leaving the Reverend Jean Sekia, he told me after Reverend Jean Sekia, he used to work in here. So then he moved to the Honganji in Kyoto, Japan. Then probably the Reverend Gibbs stepped in to substitute the Reverend Jean Sekia's position. So Dharma school teacher become Reverend, Dharma school teacher become I'm not soliciting. But anyway, so I was asked to introduce the Reverend Gibbs' bio, background history. Some of you may not know who he is. So Reverend Gregory Gibbs was born in Santa Rosa and spent 3 years in Watsonville, then grew up in Fresno here, living on the same block of Tom Seaver. I don't know who is it. Tom Seaver? Huh? No? A baseball player?
Yes.
In which age? Which era? Okay, so he studied philosophy and world religion at the Fresno State and receiving his VA in philosophy and direction of 11 years working in the medical assistant clerical position at the Valley Medical Center here in Fresno, and also the Fresno Community Hospital, and during respiratory clinic was followed by his studies at the Institute of Buddhist Studies, Berkeley, and the Graduate Theological Union. After receiving 2 master's degrees, there he went to Japan for 3 years, obtaining Yoka and Honka certificate from the seminary Chuo Bukkyo Gakuin and ordination at the Nishiyama Betsuin and Honzan Mother Temple, Nishihonganji. 7 years at the Los Angeles Betsuin was his first assignment, and followed by 13 years serving at the Oregon Buddhist Temple in Portland. And he moved to the Pasadena Buddhist Temple and the end of 2014. So since then, he's serving the 11th year there now. He married Kyoko Okura, and their sons are Sho, 26, and Ren, 20, are pursuing doctoral and bachelor's degrees, respectively. And he enjoys spectacular boxing and bowling as a particular. Oh, he messed up our bowling. Anyway, so participant. And then he has many teachers, and not just one, but especially embedded to the Dennis Hirota and late Wajo Sensei and late Kakue Miyagi. So please welcome Reverend Gibbs with applause.
No. Well, thank you, Kao-sensei, for such a nice introduction, and I thought you would select some portions from that. That's more than I know about myself. So. I'm going to start with a little message for the children, I believe, and I think Chris is going to be able to put that up on the board for me there. I'm going to read this story to you. I kind of think this is relevant to the adults too, but maybe the children will especially enjoy it. My favorite children's series, the Little Critters series, just a little different. And so, yeah. A new critter moved into a house in my neighborhood. His name is Zach. His family is a little different than the rest of the families in our block because his father is a turtle and his mother is a rabbit. My family and I went to visit Jack and his family. They were very friendly, but Zach was a little shy. Later at baseball practice, I said to the critters, let's ask Zach to join our team. But the other critters didn't want to. One of them said, he's just too different to be on our team. That made me mad. I told Mom and Dad. Mom said, being different is good. Our differences make us special. I decided Zach wasn't too different to be my friend. I went over to ask him to come and play, and his mom said he could. Playing with Zach was fun. We made some big buildings, then we made ourselves into big monsters who could knock the buildings down. When I went to Zach's house, he showed me his computer. We drew some cool pictures on it for our moms. Zach and I like the same things. We played video games. You can see the typical eye effect on people who play video games too long. We played hide and seek from my sister. Well, but the sister's too happy about that, but we rode our bikes. We even played cowboys. I told my friends Zach was a lot of fun. But they thought he was just too different. One of the critters made fun of Zach, and that really made me mad. One day, Zach and I decided to build a clubhouse. We got some scraps of wood and some tools, and Zach's dad helped us. While we were working, some of the critters walked by. What are you doing, they asked. And we told them. They thought it was so cool that they wanted to join our club too. And Zach said they could. We worked on the clubhouse all day. We had fun together. When the clubhouse was finished, we had our first club meeting. We decided that Zach should be the club leader since the clubhouse was on his yard. And the other critters asked Zach to be on our baseball team. He plays first base. Now Zach is one of the gang. It doesn't matter to anyone that he's just a little different. He's the most popular critter in the neighborhood. but he's still my best friend. So that's a Little Critter series, just a little different. And I remember reading this to my son when he was just 3.5. And so he said, yeah, that his mom's a rabbit and his dad's a turtle. That's like you and Mom. You're a boy and Mommy's a girl. So if you look at it that way, we're all of mixed heritage. And that is my message for, especially directed to the children, my favorite Little Critter book. And I'm going to give a message that is more directed to an adult audience, although nothing too controversial, I hope. Do you excuse the children, or do they have to sit here with me too? I'll try not to bore them if they're going to stay with us. But I will now move into the main Dharma message here, if I may. Excuse me, I have a little bit of allergies. I was absolutely hypoallergenic when I was younger. At 20 years of age, I was fighting fire in Yosemite, Twin Peaks area, and I was pulling out poison oak with my bare hands. The gloves froze from the poison soap sap, and I couldn't close my hands, so I had to take off the gloves and pull out with bare hands. 500 firefighters, I was the only one who had no reaction. 5 guys died from breathing the fumes. The lungs swell up. Yeah, so I used to be hypoallergenic, but things happen with aging. Vote no on aging. I do want again to thank Reverend Nakata for inviting me, all of you for inviting me to be here. Thank you for inviting me back to my hometown in the summer too. We had a bit of a heat wave last year in Southern California. One day I remember it was 107 and everybody was complaining and whining. And I told my wife, I lived in Fresno for 30 years. This is normal. This is just summer. I can't function effectively under this, but it doesn't bother me that much. This is just what summer is, And so, I'm pleased to be back in Fresno. This service is commemorating our 8th Chief Abbot, as you know, Rennyo Shonin. And I'll give a semi-traditional sort of Dharma message. At least stylistically, it will be semi-traditional, in that I will start pretty quickly here by reading a kombunsho of Rennyo's, a letter. If I was very traditional, I would just read it and not even greet you. And then the next thing is you totally ignore it. That's how we're taught at Chubusu to give talks. You read a passage and then you totally ignore it and talk about other stuff. So I'll read the passage first. The Shonin Ichiryu, the chapter on Shinran Shonin's teaching of Jodo Shinshu. Shinjin is the core of Jodo Shinshu as taught by the Shonin. The reason for this is that by abandoning all other practices and relying on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, our deliverance is assured by the Buddha through the incomprehensible power of the original vow. This status of being assured of deliverance is known as entering the ranks of the truly assured at the very instant of awakened faith. Believe that all subsequent Nembutsu becomes the Nembutsu of thanksgiving to the Tathagata for the assurance of rebirth in our pure land. With reverence I remain. Now, the traditional way to proceed is that I totally ignore what I just read and I just talk about something like my childhood in Fresno, which is what I'll go on to talk about briefly. My family moved here in 1956 in July. We left Watsonville. It was 65 degrees, the sky was blue, and we moved to Fresno, and it was 120 degrees. And I'm 7 years old, and you're kidding me, there's nothing but thick trees, and it's 120 degrees, let's go back to Watsonville. But this became my hometown, and I love Fresno. You come to love your family, your hometown, no matter what they're like, and you come to appreciate them. You come to realize they all have things that some people don't see. We're all from somewhere. I was born in Santa Rosa, as Sensei mentioned, spent 4 years there, 3 years in Watsonville. But I grew up here in Fresno and lived here for 30 years. I grew up here in a working class neighborhood near Fresno High School. And as Sensei mentioned, I grew up on the same block with Tom Seaver. I moved here in 1956. He was 5 years older. So I never heard of him. He was already famous as a Little League pitcher. He went on to win the World Series in, what year was it? 1969, I think, with the Mets. And at 12, Tom knew he was going to win the World Series. So he got all the kids in the neighborhood together to play ball. One of my friends, Jeff, comes and says, Tom's going to play ball with us. And I said, isn't Tom a little old to play baseball with us? He said, Tom is going to play baseball with us. So Tom Seaver took this softball and he just lobbed it over the plate as softly as he could, right? But nobody could hit the ball except me, because I can't hit a ball pitched by Tom Seaver. And I'm like, who's Tom Seaver? The ball's right there. You know? So I hit the ball with the fence, so I nominally hit a home run off a ball pitched by Tom Seaver. And he wanted me to tell you that. That was his plan. He wanted all of us to tell you that, but the other kids knew who he was, so they couldn't hit the ball. And I have a Fresno accent. You don't hear it because you have one too. But I was on a train one time, sitting next to this guy, and I talked to him for about an hour, and it turns out he was a linguist. And he says to me, "You're from Fresno, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, how did you know that?" He said, "You have a Fresno accent." And he said, "Yeah, Fresno's drawl. It's not a slow, long drawl like a southern drawl, but we drawl a little. And we substitute D's for T's, and the word THE, which is in English pronounced the, if you're from Fresno, it's the. I'm going to the temple. I'm not going to the temple. I'm going to the temple this morning. No, I'm going to the temple this morning." You know? It's okay. It's just everybody's from somewhere. Everybody has an accent. There's no such thing as unaccented English. So, you know, it's good to know where you're from, and it's good to feel good about where you're from, even if life is such that we sometimes have to move on. Now, everyone's from somewhere, and Rennyo was from somewhere. He was from Kyoto. He was not from a working class family. However, Rennyo Shonin underwent numerous hardships during his life, despite being a bit of an aristocrat. By the time he was born, he was a bit of an aristocrat. Rennyo Shonin underwent many hard times. His sorrows included being predeceased by 4 of his wives and 7 of his children. He was always monogamous, and he remarried soon after being widowed. You know, it's the old Paul McCartney syndrome. The very fact that you love this woman so much, you have that capacity, and you meet someone else, and it happens again. So Rennyo Shonin married 4 times, and he lost. Actually, he married 5 times. He lost 4 of his wives, and he lost 7 of his children. But that left him 20 children. You know, the fact that he did have 23 children actually left after his 7 children died doesn't mean he did not miss those children. You know, he was particularly close to his daughter Sengoku. Rennyo Shonin did encounter many difficulties living this human life that we share with him, but he was not poor. There's one old text in Japan that's trying to make you feel sorry for Rennyo Shonin, how tough he had. He had it hard. I'm not going to go into great detail, but one of the texts says, you know, there was a time when he only had 3 servants. Now, I guess when you get down to just 3 house servants, you know, you're nearing the bottom, you know. But hey, yeah, he had some money. But then 150 warrior monks come from Mount Hiei and burn down the place. So yeah, when they weren't burning down the temple on him, he was doing pretty good. He lived in different times. He was born in 1415. That was quite a while ago. He was born in a different place, again, Kyoto. And the summers were even harsher in Kyoto than they are in Fresno. He was a bit of an aristocrat. We're not of that class. Despite living in such different times and circumstances, Rennyo Shonin faced many of the same challenges that we do. He lost spouses and children to death. He endured socio-political conflict, including being attacked by warrior monks, as they called them, and he endured family tensions, severe family tensions. As I think most of you know, Rennyo Shonin was the child of the Gomon-shu to be the chief abbot-elect and a servant in the house. Rennyo was born again in 1415. His father went on to be the 7th abbot, 7th chief abbot, or Gomon-shu of Nishonganji, but Rennyo was not the son of his wife. He married later. The Gomon-shu married later a woman known as Nyoen, and she had a son, a younger son, right? And so when it came time for the Gomon-shu Sonyo to retire, he named Rennyo as his successor over his son by his wife. And because you can imagine, this did involve some family tensions. And his uncle just, when his father finally passed, his uncle just said, no. He said, Rennyo, it's got to be Rennyo. The Gomunshū picks a successor. And that was followed. They did make Rennyo the Gomunshū. But there was some real tension in the family over this, you can be sure. He was the son of the house servant and the Gomunshū. And was that okay? At the time, nobody seemed to think it was terribly wrong. Things were different. Things were different back. Not everything was different. It did not work out well for everyone. It did not work out well. Everyone did not come out okay. Whether we think the situation was morally all right or not, what happened was that his mother left the household when he was 6 years old. And this was a terrible loss. It was an irreparable loss of his mother. And in adulthood, Rennyo Shonin tried to find his mother, but he could not. There's myths that she hid from him because she didn't want to interfere. That's a myth. He just couldn't find her. He just could not find where she went. And it was something that troubled him all his life. This is something that he shares with some of us, perhaps most of us, that some of our losses are irreparable. Can't be fixed, can't be replaced. It's not all right. It's human life. It's biological life. But what is an irreparable loss in our individual lives might become endurable, tolerable, certainly less than tragic, when offset by genuine hope for the future. And Rennyo Shonin knew even in his childhood that the utter fulfillment of Buddhahood was awaiting him in the future. Even as a child, people were impressed, even when he was a teenager, people were impressed by his religiosity, his spirituality. And there was a man named Yahichi who was a friend of the Honganji, and he wrote down his conversation with Rennyo when Rennyo was 15. And when he was 15, Rennyo just turned to him and said, "It's truly remarkable that an ordinary person can become a Buddha." Now, let me make a little philosophical digression here. This is the teaching of Mahayana Buddhism. Anyone can come to Buddhahood. There's nothing stopping us. There's nothing intrinsically blocking us. There's no other ultimate destiny. No other ultimate destiny for any living being but awakening to Buddhahood. This should be a startling teaching. This should be a startling assertion. Any living being can awaken to Buddhahood, thoroughly to Buddhahood. We can all become Buddhas. And not just you, and not just your pet cat or your favorite dog. One day, every living being can awaken to Buddhahood. And Buddhahood means wisdom, compassion, freedom, happiness, joy, sharing, goodness, and doing for others. It's a wonderful fulfillment, and it's there for all of us. At 15, Rennyo mentioned how remarkable this was. He was struck by the remarkable optimism of Mahayana Buddhism, where again, a Buddha is the highest form of being, so far as we're concerned, morally, spiritually, and any one of us can awaken to this. Even at 15, Rennyo was quite startled by this teaching, the optimism of Mahayana Buddhism. The long-range perspective of Mahayana Buddhism is remarkably positive. We should all be stunned by this teaching. Back to biography. Rennyo was ordained as a priest at the age of 17 at Shonin, the same temple where his 8th generation grandfather Shinran Shonin was ordained. Same temple. It was moved 60 miles, but it was the same temple. Shinran was ordained, it was up the hill on Mount Hiei. And I don't know why, but they moved the whole temple down to Kyoto, down to northeastern Kyoto. It's a beautiful little temple, a nice moss garden. They have a whole section on Shinran Shonin, even though it's a Tendai temple. They have a whole separate building on Shinran Shonin because of the famous fact that he was ordained there. And Rennyo went to that same temple, even though it was not been moved 60 miles, for his ordination. He became Gomunshū, the chief abbot, at the age of 43. Again, because his father chose him over his brother. over his stepbrother, who was the son of his wife, Nyoen. Rennyo was the one who was spiritually oriented. Rennyo Shonin was the one who was deeply touched and devoted to the Nembutsu teaching. Touched by and devoted to the Nembutsu teaching. So he became Gomonshu, the keeper of the gate. There were no doubt heated family discussions about this succession. Just 7 or 8 years later, 1465, he'd been in office, he was 51 years old, he'd been in the office of Gomonshu for about 8 years, when these 150 warriors came down from Mount Hiei to burn the temple and drive him off. They would have killed him if they'd have caught him in time. But he was able to escape. There was a jealousy. It really was economic from the Tendai reaction. There were other people like Myoe who had genuine doctrinal differences with us. But the Tendai was just money. We were starting to convert people to our school of Buddhism, and they were supporting us instead of the Tendai temple. And just anecdotally, whenever I found an old temple in Kyoto that was pre-Shinshu and it turned Shinshu, if that was pre-Shinshu, if it was, they either were Jodoshu or Jodoshinshu. And the Jodoshinshu temples usually were originally Tendai temples. Some of the Jodoshu temples were originally Shingon. I don't know why, but I never found a Shin temple that was originally Shingon. But a number of them were originally Tendai and changed to Jodoshinshu. So they're losing money, they're losing support, and they sent these guys who were really just criminals who took refuge at the temple. Just like in Catholicism, same thing happened in Catholicism in Europe. They had criminals who took refuge and then did certain tasks for the priests when they needed them done. So he had a hard time. He had to leave Kyoto. He reestablished temple in Echizen and then Osaka and then back to Kyoto. And I won't go into all those details. His first place he escaped to was Midera, a beautiful temple I recommend you visiting. But instead of discussing further details of Rennyo Shonin's biography, I want to speak with you about what Rennyo Shonin contributed to our tradition. And there are two main things you have to see about Rennyo, why he's important. One is propagation. We were exceedingly small for 150 years. I mean, a couple thousand people, right? By the time Rennyo's term ended as Gomonshu, we were probably over 1 million, some hundreds of thousands. We went from a couple thousand to some hundreds of thousands or millions of people, and because of his work, I don't know how big we are now, but we peaked about mid-20th century, around about 50 million Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. This is for a group that for 150 years was maybe 800 people, you know. But Rennyo's letters, which were understandable, Rennyo's Dharma talks, which were apparently very engaging, you know. There was one time, it was just like 60s rock concert. There was one time when he was giving a series of talks around Lake Biwa. So many people crowded into the room to hear him talk. 2 people were crushed to death. Yeah. So he said, I'm not going there again. No, this should not be happening. I'm not going to do that speaking tour again. You know, he believed this teaching. He believed he was going to the Pure Land, and everybody was eventually, if they just listened. And he affected people profoundly. Rennyo Shonin propagated teaching. The other thing is he was a pastor more than a theorist. He tried to put this directly to us. And so he began to speak of birth and Amita's pure realm as the afterlife. Go show, the birth to come. Very concrete, very simple. But this is what the teaching is. He's just elaborating the teaching in a simple, direct way. It's not watering down. The Diary of a Ryochu Ko tells us that enlightenment is eternal and blissful. So Rennyo is just trying to put it directly to us. I read a translation of Rennyo's brief summary of his 8th generation grandfather Shinran Shonin's teaching, the Shonin Ichiryu, but I'm going to, rather unconventionally, I'm going to read it to you in Japanese. It's short. It's short. So you heard an interpretation, a translation. And I'm going to read the original, then I'm going to give you an interpretation, not a translation. I'm just going to tell you what it means to me. First, I'll read it, if I may. Now, this is where Rennyo actually said, as best as I can do it. I'm not good at this, but the Shonin Ichiryu, Gobonsho. Shonin Ichiryu no gokanke no omomuki wa shinjin no motte honto terare soro sono yue wa moro moro no zogyo no nagetutete ishin ni miru ni kimyo sureba fukashi no ganriki to shite buddha no kata yori ojo wa jijo seshime tomo sono kurai o ichinen hoki nyu shoujo shiju tomo shakushi sono yue no shomyon nendu uta nyorai waga ojo sarame tamaishi sono honjin no nendu uta kokoro na bekinari anakashiko. So that's what he said. That's what he said. And I read the translation earlier. The translations are all interpretations. So I'm just going to tell you what I think it means using the words of others. Not his words, not my words. What Shinran was saying, what Rennyo was trying to lift up for us, is that Amida's promise of liberation is a promise to lead us into the light. It will be. He's promised, the Buddha has promised to lift us into the light, but we're not there. It's just as if we were on a train whose inevitable destination is enlightenment. Now, those weren't Rennyo's words. Trains were invented about 450 years after he passed on. But that's what he's telling us. You are on a train whose inevitable destination is enlightenment. You will get there. It's going to happen. Don't you worry. Those words actually were a priest from Fukuoka named Gasan Roshi. He told this to Laverne Sasaki Sensei, and Laverne Sasaki Sensei told it to me, and now I'm telling you, and it's the truth. You are on a train whose inevitable destination is that station of light and joy, is thoroughgoing enlightenment, is all dreams come true. You will get there. Now, this assurance, this humble confidence in our inevitable, unavoidable, unpreventable enlightenment is what Rennyo Shonin was hoping to make us feel. Each time he sat down to read a Gobonsho, this is what he wanted us to feel. It's going to be okay. You're going to get there. We're on our way. We can't turn back. It's going to happen. In closing, I'm going to close up here. In closing, let me interpret Rennyo Shonin's vision by using the words of someone else. And this time I borrowed the words from T.S. Eliot, who took them from someone else, as he usually did. But what Rennyo was hoping that we would feel when we listen to his Gobonsho, when we listen to his message, is that all will be well, and all will be well, and every manner of thing will be well. This is the feeling behind his Gobonsho. This is really what he was trying to convey to us. All will be well, and all will be well. Every manner of thing will be well. It's going to be all right. We're on our way to that station of light and joy. Nothing's going to stop us from getting there. That's the note I wish to end on. I thank you for inviting me here back to my hometown to speak with you. I will close the Dharma message portion of the service with Gasho, posture of unity and respect, and say the Buddha's name a few times. Join me as you wish. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Butsu. Thank you very much.